Okay. Hi, I'm Lorraine Hamilton and you're watching Luminary Liberators, exploring the entrepreneurial mindset journey. Today I'm joined by Saule Atantay, and Saule is an intuitive healer and certified rapid results coach who helps entrepreneurs trapped in corporate start their businesses and shift their mindset from survival to a creative mode. So welcome, Saule. It's so exciting to have you here. Oh, I think our internet
Thank you, Lorraine, for welcoming me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the connection is not very good.
Okay. That's all
Thank
right.
you, Lorraine, again for welcoming me. It's my very first interview.
Oh, well, you're very welcome to be to taking that baptism of fire here with us on the Luminary Liberator series. Welcome. So
yeah, I totally love the name of this series. Luminary Liberator. There's so much energy in this name. I really love it.
I'm very, very pleased with the guests that we have on this series and what they have to share. And they truly are. They are luminary thought leaders and they have so much wisdom and insight to share with our viewers. So I'm pleased that you connect with the name. But I'm interested in you. I would love for you to tell us about the work that you are currently doing and who you're working with. Because it's very close to my heart. So please, the floor is yours. Please tell us about your work.
Okay, so I'm a coach and intuitive healer, as you already mentioned, and I incorporate healing into my coaching work because a lot of times people get stuck, not because they don't know what to do. You can find strategies all over the internet, everywhere in the books. You know, some stuff you already know from your background, right? But most of the times I can see that people are stopped by their own inner dialogue. And I researched a lot while working on myself and healing myself, and I learned beautiful healing techniques to help with overcoming it. It's not overcoming, actually, it's just clearing the way. And I realized that every human being is connected to the source of genius, and it's always there. Because while we are children, we are open and connected, and we have this pure and innocent, open self-expression. And then we lose it along the way. We get scared, we start doubting ourselves. We feel ashamed to put ourselves there and be visible. We start pretending. We focus more on fitting in and meeting someone's expectations rather than expressing ourselves, talking about our passions. And I realized that there is a lot that's coming from our parents, our childhood trauma in relationships with them. And also there's a lot of impact from ancestors. And there's a science called epigenetics, and our epigenome contains all information about our ancestors' trauma, and it blocks us. Can you imagine it? You sit there and you feel blocked and stuck, that you cannot do what you love, or you cannot attract opportunities, or you cannot earn money you are sure that you deserve to earn in this life, because you are gifted, you have talents, and you are a hard worker. But something stops, and you can't always point your finger of why it's different for others and I'm blocked.
Yeah.
And some fears are so subconscious, and you sabotage yourself subconsciously, like sabotage all opportunities, or sabotage your money. You earn a lot of money and then you spend it all. Or you avoid making an important decision that you already made in your heart. You run and hide. And I realized and I learned that our ancestors' trauma is still affecting us. Yeah, especially I'm coming from Kazakhstan, and it's former Soviet Union country, and Soviet Union history was a cruel one, actually. And my own ancestors suffered a lot, and it was safe to hide, it was safe to pretend, it was safe to meet expectations. So they could be killed if they didn't follow certain rules, and also they lost their properties. So it was safe to stay under certain income glass ceiling, and it wasn't even allowed to have businesses during the Soviet time. It was communistic country, basically. No market. You had to only work for government.
You know, that is such an interesting and it's not an analogy, a history, and a recent history at that, that I often talk about mindset blocks as, you know, our inner critic keeping us safe, that it's the primal part of us that keeps us safe. And I think when we talk about that and when we visualize that, we're going much, much further back. So we're not just talking, you know, a generation, 2, 3 generations. We're talking back sort of cavemen. That's where we can visualize the sense of, you know, safety and threat of, you know, war, famine, drought. But what you've just described is something that's far more relatable. You know, the Soviet Union was dismantled in my lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that that I think people can connect to as being something that is not that far away, and it does have a strong impact on that sense of survival. So, so
Second World War also was not long ago.
No.
In the history, your grandparents maybe survived in the Second World War. Even if people don't talk about it much, but it was a huge trauma. People actually experienced loss of everything, loss of hope, loss of fatherland, loss of their properties, loss of their loved ones, the shock, the chaos. I'm not talking about the concentration camps and Holocausts. Even. It was huge trauma.
Yeah.
And it's still there in your genes. And why I'm talking about it openly is that I just encourage people to be more compassionate to themselves. There is entire cruel history of humanity sitting in your genes.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it. You have a reason to search for safety, and you have a reason to avoid certain things that your subconscious thinks is not safe for you. Nowadays, time changed, and some blocks are outdated, some trauma is outdated, and thanks God we have tools and modalities to address this and free and release these blocks, this trauma. It's emotional trauma.
Yes, and I talk about this quite a lot as well. It's such a paradox for the people that you're working with. So the people that are coming to you and wanting to step out on their own as entrepreneurs, and the advice is push, 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 get out of your comfort zone, just do it, take action.
Yeah.
No, action is the antidote to fear, and it's not just as simple as that.
Yeah, it's not that simple. I agree. I totally agree here. And I don't like this advice of pushing yourself, because it's not sustainable. You will become exhausted. You will create huge inner conflict. Part of you is seeking for safety and comfort, and part of you is pushing this part. And there is inner, tug war inside of you. It's not healthy to have a war inside of you. Third World War.
It is interesting that you use the phrase tug of war, because I have just written a post about that, and I've called it this tug of war. Quite often people refer to the journey of entrepreneurship as a roller coaster, but I feel that it's more this inner tug of, you know, I want to be over here, but no, you have to be safe and stay here, but no, I want to be over there, but no, you have to be safe and stay here. So I'm pleased to hear you use that term.
Yeah, and I hate it. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to liberate people from any kind of war. Yeah. You have to be coherent and whole, and you have to reflect and express yourself as a whole beautiful human being without fighting yourself. If you are fighting yourself, everyone around will fight against you. It's a law of attraction. If there's a fight inside of you, you will attract people who will fight with you. You will attract conflict. And it's exhausting and not healthy.
No. Is that something that you've experienced yourself in your own liberation from the corporate world?
Yeah, the truth is I was searching for 15 years to find out what I would love to do that will make my heart sing. I truly believed as a child that these school systems, then corporate work is not true. But I didn't have a proof that it's not true. I was thinking about it independently. My parents were teaching, you know, stay in one place, work for one company. And they were working in the Soviet Union companies, governmentally owned. And, you know, teachers were quite authoritative. Everything was teaching, meet expectations, do not stand out, you know, follow this mark system, feedback system. And I was a rebel. I was questioning everything, and teachers hated me. I was best in class, but they still hated me. They didn't like my questions. And then I think in corporate as well, they had to recognize my technical abilities and gifts and all this work I was doing and results, but they didn't like my soft skills because I wasn't always, you know, fitting in, belonging, and always 100% within corporate ethics type of polite, you know, always this pyramid style of, you know, bending in front of authorities. And I never felt that I had to admire bosses, or like I felt equal. But I also felt that I cannot, for some reason, I cannot just leave this. So something was missing, and I didn't know what was missing, and I didn't know what would make my heart sing every day. And I remember in my second year working for a huge corporation. It was an audit company, like a big name, and it was a shock. I was so disappointed, and it felt wrong. I didn't want a life like this. And they were teaching you have to do a lot of pushing. I felt like a slave. There was a lot of pushing, a lot of, you know, teaching to push yourself, become ambitious, do a lot of things that doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel right. And I started questioning all the adults around, experienced people, older people. Is this life? Why it should be this fight and, you know, being unhappy and surviving and, you know, fighting to grow in this company, competition part, I never got it. Why I should compete where there are thousands of opportunities out there? It's like, I remember there was an old movie when an old guy came to a football match and he saw it for the first time. He was someone from the faraway village, and he saw the football match for the first time, and he said, why are they fighting? There's 24 people fighting for one ball, or 10 people fighting for one ball. Can't they just have a ball for each one of them to play? So this was basically my inner feeling of something is wrong in all this happening around in my life.
How did you discover what you were going to do next? How did you break that cycle and recognize that it was time to make a move? Or, you know, tell me about the transition for you.
Yeah. So I tried different things, and there were a lot of blind alleys, from interior design to starting retail business. Nothing worked, and then I met my mentor, healing mentor, and the teacher, and I went through massive healing, and I learned the healing myself. And only after that, after healing all this ancestral blocks and history and trauma and childhood, fighting against the school and authority type of trauma, only after that I felt liberated from this pattern of being in the system, fighting against the system, being misunderstood by all these big structures. And only after that I realized I'm free now. I'm free to do whatever I want. And then there was like blank. So what do I want? I was searching for it for a long time, but by this point I realized that I learned healing to help myself and my friends and relatives, but I realized that there's something beautiful that's happening in this process of I liberated myself, and I want to help others liberate themselves from the crap that they're stuck in and they don't understand, and this fighting never helps. You run away. Yeah, I ran away to start my own retail business, but I couldn't run away from myself. That's why it didn't work. That's why it didn't help. I did it all wrong. It wasn't my zone of genius. I started in the wrong time, right before recession, and I chose the wrong niche. I chose the wrong product. Everything was wrong. I had to close it in 1 year. It's not like one day I found out this, you know, I had this lightning strike of now I know what to do. No, it wasn't like that. It was a lot of inner work. And that's why I'm so passionate about this mindset work, and starting from changing these patterns, liberating yourself from it. There is a reason why you were stuck in your corporate job in the first place. Part of you had to agree to fit into system, to follow someone else's authority, to meet someone else's expectations, to cope with stress and not liking what you do, and cope with toxic people. There are a lot of toxic bosses. There is a reason why you attracted this in your life, because not everyone goes through corporate cycle in their life. Some people start their businesses early, right? They know early on what they want to do, and they start in university, they drop off universities. So there was a reason why you were there for quite a long time and you couldn't get out of there.
Yeah.
Why you trusted this financial security of having a job and coping with everything you didn't like about. So I think that's why everyone who wants to start and liberate is first clear all these limiting beliefs and trauma, everything that was keeping you stuck there and
Yes.
attracting this pattern. Because starting a business, it's a totally different journey. Being confident as an executive, and I've been there, I was a CFO, and being confident as an entrepreneur, two different stories.
Absolutely.
Completely. If you think I'm a CEO and I'm a confident person, then go and try and do your first video.
Absolutely. This is such a great analogy. Yes, I can make pitches for multi-million dollars, but I can't sit in front of my own computer screen.
I think there's a lot of hiding behind this huge corporation brand name, pretending and playing by the rules of this company created for you. And when you start as an entrepreneur or solopreneur, it's totally different to first start speaking about your passion openly, to start speaking about your message, being confident in your message, being confident that you actually can help people.
Yes.
Even if you were a CEO of multi-billion company, believe me, it will be different. Yeah, you will feel naked in the glass window of the shop.
Thank you, Sally. I think you've shared so many great insights, and your story and the story of ancestry, I think, is very powerful here. If somebody is looking up at you right now going, oh, I wish I was where Saule is now, what advice would you give them?
Advice?
Yeah.
I would give an advice to start searching for who you really are. And in my case, I started from astrology. I learned my natal chart, and I learned all the parts of me that maybe I was disconnected from. Who you truly are without this family history, without your own story, without things that you were clingy and stuck with, but all parts of you. So one is astrology or numerology, depends on the choice. And the other one is going back into your memories and finding out the times when you felt most alive, free, vibrant. I see the word happy, and I want to say it, but I think it's been used so many times that it lost its meaning. That's why I'm using this word of being alive, vibrant, joyful.
Yeah.
Like truly yourself. And maybe there were not long periods of times in your past, but there were small bits and pieces. And I would give an advice of starting to recollect all these memories and making the list, and then coming up with a summary of what was similar, what was common in all these situations. And it will clarify better who you truly are and what would you like to do in life, and it would be sustainable. Because if you start business, that's not who you truly are. It will be another job that you created for yourself. It will be another trap that you will, again, avoid, look for vacations and feel disconnected from again. So to do things differently, start looking for and understanding who you truly are before all this conditioning entered your life.
Yes.
School, social, parents, authorities. Before all that, who you are, or in between. Yeah, I'm sure there were parts of your job that you enjoyed and felt happy and alive and vibrant doing. Maybe in comparison to other parts that you were procrastinating or pushing through, feeling stressful about. So find out all these happy and alive and vibrant times of your life and list all these and come up with this picture of what is you, what is that you came here to do. And when people look for purpose, they get purpose trapped. And I think anyone's purpose is to be happy, to enjoy life, to express themselves, to contribute, and to create something, some legacy. And a part of understanding who you truly are is also understanding how can you contribute.
Yes.
It's not only what you want to receive. like dreaming about a house, beach house, or vacations. And it's not only receiving something, but what would make you do something and enjoy the process so it wouldn't feel like work.
So
You would do it if you were not paid.
Your purpose beyond making money. So,
yes.
And that is what we refer to as your genius.
Yeah.
And so you have a very useful way of helping people tap into what their genius is. Would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, I have a 7-day challenge specifically designed for people who have no clarity what business they want to start. They crave for freedom. They know that they've outgrown their corporate job, but they don't know where to start from. Or maybe they have some picture of, I would do coaching or something else. I would do consulting, but there's no clarity in narrowing down your niche and understanding your message. And anyway, you will need to work on it to come up with your own brand and your own idea of the business. So this challenge helps to come up with your own unique genius statement by the day 7. And during this challenge, you understand your genius. And I already gave a glimpse of day 1
Yeah.
with recollecting this vibrant, alive, and free moments from your life. And also talents and gifts. You will craft your transformation story because you transformed, you've overcome something, you've learned something, and people want to learn from you. And it also gives you a clue of what is your ideal client, avatar, or however you call it. Who are your ideal clients? People who will love you is people who want to learn from you because they have the same goal, but that you are 2 steps ahead. You've overcome something, you've created certain turnaround, they want to learn from you. I truly believe that you cannot learn just by listening to someone teaching and giving instructions. You learn from experiences, right? And we learn from interaction with people who already been there and who already are on the other side. By our mirror neurons, we copy this pattern of success from them, as we copied the patterns of our parents when we were children. Yeah, I'm talking about being trapped in their patterns. It's another story, but still we selected some patterns of them that we perceived as successful when we were children, and we learned by copying, not because they stand there and said do this and do that. No, we copied them and we learned it. That's how we learn. So it's a part of the challenge to craft your transformation story, and then you come up with your genius statement. That is a business idea and the foundation for your brand message. That you will write then a beautiful brand message for you.
Wonderful. It sounds fantastic. It sounds very in-depth and quite a personal journey, even in a 7-day challenge. How do people sign up for the challenge?
It's on my website front page. I will give you the link.
Yeah.
And I talk about people in corporate in my copy, but I've seen that there are a lot of people joining who already started their businesses. They are newbie entrepreneurs and they still want to clarify. And I found it was a new thing for me. I found that people who are 2 or 3 years in business, they are already successful and they claim that they earn 6 figures already. They are always clarifying their message. They are always clarifying. They're always doing this inner work of clarifying the true essence, the best they can give. And why I talk about this genius, it's first, it's an endless source. It's your connection to this endless, infinite source. That's why it's a lucrative business idea.
I love the way you talk about that as well on your copy. I love that.
Yeah, because it's a lucrative business idea, because if you are connected to endless source and you can give endless value.
Yes.
And it's a high vibration type of value, right? That's why, and money comes in exchange for value. I'm talking about it as ex-CFO. So I'm giving the logic behind this challenge and why you need to untap your genius. And I don't think that there are geniuses and gifted and there are others, mediocres. No, everyone has it. Just people have different level of being blocked and traumatized and accepting certain limiting patterns and beliefs, like different pattern of being trapped.
I have a colleague and a dear friend of mine called Nancy Marmolejo, and she talks about the intersection of talent and genius, and that is where your deep genius lies. So the intersection between talents and skills that you have and your genius, that at that point, that is your source, and that is the thing that will help you to stand out. And I absolutely 100% concur. I do believe that everybody is unique. We can be doing very similar work, but we will attract a different type of client, and that there's enough for everyone. So again, coming back, you shared so much with us that I agree with and that I want to recap on, but there's just too much. But this idea of not competing, this this sense of that we do take on the conditioning of our ancestors and the conflicts that they've experienced, and that we have to clear those conflicts before we can start to build a foundation for success. To understand that you do have this deep genius that makes you who you are, and that it's lucrative. It's something that you can share. It's something that you give out, and that is the basis of a sustainable business that makes your heart sing. Those are
you will enjoy the process.
Yes, exactly. So these are just some of the things that you've highlighted in a short space of time for us, and I'm so grateful. I've really enjoyed talking to you and listening to you, and the perspective that you have on your work. I think I'm going to go and check out your challenge myself, even though that you can always learn. You're always learning, and as you say, it's an evolution. That entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, are always coming back to this process, and they're evolving as they learn and as they grow. They're evolving their brand, their message, their purpose. So thank you so much for bringing your insights to us in Luminary Liberators. Is there any last nugget of wisdom that you have to share with us?
Don't try to do it yourself. Ask for help.
Yeah, thank you.
You can only stay where you are doing it yourself. Always ask for help. There is a lot of help out there for every type of budget. And don't be limited with type of investment. Don't run for shiny objects. Find someone who resonates with your heart, whose story resonates with your story, who is in some way close and similar to you, and whose integrity and values you also resonate with, because it's very important to understand your own values and choose people with same set of values to interact with. Yeah, as an energy healer, I know I can see the result of conflict of values. It's painful, and it also creates additional stress that you don't need. And not necessarily people with big names charging huge amounts will be the best people to help you. There's always someone quite close who is 2 steps ahead, and who was there already, and who will be able to help you, and who will love your genius.
We can have a whole other conversation about charging big bucks, and I have a very strong opinion on that it's a positioning tool. It is not, it does not necessarily correlate with worth or value. It's about positioning yourself in the market and where you want to play. But as I say, that is another story. I think our internet connection has done well to stand up between New Zealand and Kazakhstan, but it's beginning to wear a little bit thin. So let me thank you once again for joining us, Saule. I really thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and learning from you, and I thank you for joining us both today on Luminary Liberators, and I will be back soon with another thought leader to inspire and ignite your genius in you.